You're listening to Productivity Monsters in the Morning. We are the energy vault your real estate business needs to get you up and out and excited and productive for the day. We go over trending topics and things that really matter in the market of the moment. Here are your hosts, Tiffany Hampton and Brooke Silva.
Good morning, Brooke.
Good morning, Tiffany, on this chilly November morning.
No, winter has officially arrived. I'm a little sad.
I'm going to call this fallish because now I feel like we're going back to, I was in the 70s. It was 76 at my house this weekend on one of the days.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, it was good.
All year round.
It was great with that. But yeah, now we're easing back into it. I actually cracked the heat this morning.
It's actually going to snow on Wednesday.
Your neck of the woods. I'm not talking about that down here yet. I'm not ready for it.
Yeah.
But I did just find out my Jeep has a car starter built in.
Nice.
That I didn't know about. So
you can go make that happen.
I am pretty excited. Now the thing is to remember to keep the heat on when you get out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
That's so difficult. Anyway.
So today.
We've got a fun one today.
Are we talking about what?
We talk about this a lot in Bold. We talk about this a lot in our coaching. We just talk a lot about this in our conversations because you and I push each other to do this a lot.
Yes. Just like these videos. Talk to me 2 years ago, I would have never have agreed to do this ever.
I gotta tell you, same. And the person who made me so comfortable on video is someone in our region, Jen Bovey. When I first started with the region, we had all these events. So I was constantly with her in multiple places and she would thrush her, here, phone in the face. We're live on Facebook. Talk about this with me. And I'd be like,
frozen.
No, but it got to a point where she could turn on a camera now and she'd be like, go, let's do this. And I'm like, hey, it's Brooke from the region. How's everybody doing? Here's where we are. But whoa, did she push me out of my comfort zone fast.
Yes.
So fast.
Yep, and that's what we're talking about. So our affirmation, I love our affirmation today. I think it's one of my favorites.
I think so too, because it's so simplistic. And I feel like I need to start writing these down and keeping them somewhere. So those rip-off papers you go to the grocery store when you need a landscaper, here we go. Today's the day I need this.
I love that idea. I love that. Yeah. So the affirmation is better and better describes my life. I love it.
I like that too, because sometimes affirmations are too bold for the day.
Yep.
And sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm positive today. I'm doing a great job, but man, this is not the affirmation for me today. So better and better describes my life because we're going to have days things go backwards. We're going to have days that are sad, that are hard, where maybe a deal fell apart, something's wrong with the car. Your day just isn't yours, but that's not tomorrow. And a bad minute doesn't make a bad day necessarily, or a bad career, or a bad life. And I feel like this is what I keep telling my teenage kid all the time.
Yeah.
Better and better. Today sucked, tomorrow will be better. Unless you dwell on it forever.
Well, and that's the thing. I remember one of my business partners over the years, he used to be something would go bad and for a month he would dwell on it. And then it was 3 weeks, and then it was 2 weeks, and then it was a couple of days, and then it was a day, and then it was 30 minutes. And now he has the ability to say, okay, it happened. What's next? Right. And we all strive to get that. What's next is a hard thing when emotion is involved.
Right? Because you also don't want to seem cold, right? But it's, you push me for what's next. Okay, we did this. Now what? Yep. And you're pushing me way out of my comfort zone when it comes to coaching other people as well, because I'm on to you and I see what you're doing with me and the questions you ask. And then I get all excited because I'm like, I used a coaching thing you taught me. And I come running back and it's just funny how I'm out of my comfort zone asking certain questions because I'm a problem solver and a nurturing person. So sometimes when I have to ask harder, big questions, I feel like it's outside of my personality, but I have to just learn my own delivery of those questions and know that what I'm doing is helping that person get uncomfortable to get comfortable so they grow.
Yeah. We talked about this before. It's the deposit, and then withdrawal. Like when you deposit on a high level and you ask that tough question, it's not offensive.
No, and I think too, over the years, the people I work with, I hope they trust me. I feel like I've built some amazing relationships in this world so that when they are coming to me with these things, I can ask those hard questions. But that is not something that's easy. It's simple, but it takes practice.
Right.
And when we talk about our world and getting uncomfortable, usually it's around lead generation.
Yes.
Because everybody seems to be scared of the word lead generation. And I don't love a world necessarily where we have to change words to get comfortable in things, because in order to get uncomfortable, you have to put yourself out there. You have to acknowledge that there's a deficit in learning. But if you're in discomfort, it actually means you're learning. So I personally crave that discomfort of the panic of a moment of, I don't know how to do something, but I know I have people, systems, tools available to help me get where I need to be. Discomfort, it's a true form of fear.
Yeah.
And when you says that.
Yeah, when you get uncomfortable, it's almost like you have to get outside of yourself. Right? Like at the end, like perfect example, I taught a class that I had never taught before a few weeks ago. And I had something happen personally in my world, so I didn't get to prep the way I wanted to, but I had to walk into that room like I owned the room, even though I didn't. Had to be completely uncomfortable with the fact that I had no idea where this conversation was going to go. And because I didn't have any limiting beliefs or any expectations, it was a great class.
And that's, so you and I, our job is to educate, right? And there are classes that we did not create. Mm-hmm. And for so long, I think I created classes instead of teaching the classes we already had, because it was my content. Right. It was my lesson plan. It was my workbook, and I knew it inside and out.
And
but when I started, right, I was so comfortable. So when Jen came to me and said, Brooke, we're teaching 6 personal perspectives, whoo, wall went up, and I was like, I am not ready for that. And I was so ready for it. And now it's my first class. I thought I bombed. It was fantastic. And it pushed me to a very uncomfortable place. But now I feel like I'm a better instructor, and it's my favorite. I will teach it anywhere. And it's funny because my mom gave me this sign, because it's that's what I was looking around for. It is the most opposite of what I do, because I don't do this. But she said, when in doubt, mumble. Like, and it's funny because this is not something I would do, but she knows all the people around me, when they're uncomfortable, they do that. Yeah. So she was dying. She's like, maybe if you put it up in your office, people will stop doing that. Because she's like, ever since you were little, even in uncomfortable situations as a child, head up, walked in the room like you owned it. You might not have known anyone. You didn't want to talk to people. You didn't know anyone. You got uncomfortable to get comfortable. And I've had some great opportunities because of it. And it's not about being fearless, because I do have fears. You have fears.
Oh yeah, all day long. So I have a coaching client who I coached, and, outsider looking in, I'm like, this guy's got it all. He's confident. He's ready to go. And so we were talking about doing a coffee event where you ask a real estate question and you get a free coffee. And that was outside his comfort zone. So the other part of the conversation is you really don't know what the inside of somebody is. So when you're on the outside, you really have to be understanding that outside and how he shows up is not what the inside looks like. No.
And I've had some great conversations with Ashley Harwood, and we're going to have her on the show as a guest to switch out for one of us. She has the introverts in real estate groups. Mm-hmm. And I went to a live introverts versus extroverts panel with her, and it was fantastic. And it actually made me super protective of our introverts and give them some more space that I didn't realize they needed. And in this panel, one of the guys in the audience raised his hand and said, there's no way an introvert could be successful if you're not willing to cold call. And I got to tell you, it was like I was a giant peacock. My plume went up. I grabbed the mic. I raised my hand. I must have been bouncing on my seat because you can be uncomfortable in cold calling, but we also have tools and ways, and we're going to talk about it in a book in a second, to get yourself to a warm point so that maybe you are an introvert. Maybe picking up the phone is the most difficult thing for you, but if we can smooth those relationships in other ways before a face-to-face or a phone conversation has to happen, I'm counting it as a win. And I went off on a soapbox for at least a good 5 minutes about the face of lead generation now and how thinking like that is so close-minded, and how many people in that gentleman's world are missing out because he refuses to Facebook message them or social media. So I will kindly help our agents take all that business. But it was, right? Because also I might not be the type of client who wants a first phone conversation. If I ask a question and you immediately ring my phone without my permission, we're done. Yeah. We're done. Right? So what's your coaching action for our friends today if they want to get uncomfortable to get comfortable in different forms of lead gen?
Really start with a small, uncomfortable lead generation opportunity. Maybe it's go to a networking event where you know some of the people, but not all of the people. Maybe it's that uncomfortable message that you're going to send in social media because you don't want to be a pushy salesperson, quote unquote. Whatever that uncomfortable, start small and gradually work up to the bigger.
I'm going to challenge them to take a class outside of their own market center area.
Yes.
So if you're taking bold, find one that doesn't, where you're not with the same people over and over. When I took a specific class, I went outside of our region to take it because I wanted to be with people who didn't know me, because I had to be evaluated on speaking and doing all these things. So I went outside because I wanted new relationships, but a different perspective. So if you haven't taken business planning clinic or bold, find one that's outside your area, and also make new friends, referral partners. That's my big thing, is find a market center or a class that's going on elsewhere, register and go.
Yes, 100%. So you know me, I'm a book fan.
We are both. What is it called when you love books, like, and you collect them? Obsessive? No, wait. There's a term for that. A
lot of people have smart bookshelves. I have a smart bookshelf that I actually read.
I do too. Like, bibliophilia. It is the love of books, a bookworm nerd. Yeah. No, you do. You and I both have bookshelves, and there's a joke between us because we'll hop in an elevator or be somewhere and you're like, oh, I read something. And that is automatically going to be, so Brooke, you need to read this too. And I'm like, I can't keep up with you. And I try my hardest, but.
Yeah. Well, what ended up where it really got real, like I was an avid book reader where I would do 100 books a year. But Matt Teeter, when I did his TL 30-60-90, he challenged us to read 2 books a week, 1.5 times, and we listened to him, and then buy the books and like follow along and make. So like, yeah, books are a thing. I don't usually have book author crushes, but I will say.
This is hysterical. Look at this.
This is Jeb Blount. And if you were at, and I was a fan before.
Fall Masterminds.
Our Fall Masterminds. He was the guest speaker.
He was hilarious.
He's phenomenal.
He put relationship building in a way. Not only was he comedic genius with his delivery, but I was watching the room as well because New England hosted Fall Masterminds this year, and the little light bulbs, you could physically see people light up with the simplistic way in which he describes our world.
Yeah. He had his Winter is Coming.
Yep.
And the pipe is life, which is your pipeline. Pipeline is life. And that was his model. He came out. So the 2 books I have he has like People Love You, People Follow You, Objection Handling, they buy you, ink. He has like all of these different books, Virtual Selling. But my 2 favorite is Fanatical Prospecting. If you have not read this book will get your mindset around being able to pick up the phone, being able to make that social post. And then his newest one that I listened to when I went down to Leadership Fundamentals is Selling in a Crisis, which is 55 different ways to stay motivated and increase your sales. And we'll probably touch on those over the weeks during this, but those books, man, like if you need motivation, pick up one of his books.
And Fanatical Selling really focuses on the social aspect of things and how to use all the different social avenues we have, not just social media, but what does it look like to network, to truly network, not to just go to an event for the sake of going to the event and getting free alcohol.
Be the wall holder. Like the wall can hold itself up. Doesn't need you.
It does not, Tiffany. It does not.
I like my walls though.
I know you do. You have no walls with me, friend.
No kidding.
So today's affirmation was better and better describes my life. We want you guys to continue to get uncomfortable, to get comfortable. And then Tiffany, you want them to do what?
I want them to choose an uncomfortable lead generation event.
And then
anything.
And then mine for you guys is wherever you go, whatever you do for that uncomfortable event, follow it up with a thank you card or a note, and make sure you log it in your system, whatever you use. If you're in Command, make sure you log that activity and a quick synopsis of what you wrote in the card. So that way you can remember for the future. So when you do send more cards, you don't write the same thing, but send a true heartfelt note of gratitude for whomever you meet at these events or you interact with on social media or via the phone. It's a little bit of happy mail. I love happy mail.
I know. And, I love, we have some things coming up for the KW New England region that I'm wicked excited for. And the happy mail. Mm-hmm. I think that is phenomenal. That's like such a good thing.
It feels so good.
A little happiness in our life.
We do. We know what we get. We get flyers, junk, and bills.
I'm so glad election season is over.
Same, friend. Same. All right. Well, our books will be in the show notes. Yeah. If you did something, we want to hear about it. Get uncomfortable. Or if you need help with accountability, reach out to us and say, Brooke, Tiff, by this date, and it needs to be soon, I want to go to 2 events and create referral connections or new clients. Tell us what you want to do and we'll help you get there. That's what drives us.
Yeah, because you're willing to disappoint yourself. You're really not willing to disappoint others.
Especially me. You don't want that. You don't want frowny face. I don't even have it in me to make I don't even have mad face.
I do.
I know you do. I do not. My face, this is why my cheeks are like this. This is pure muscle from smiling.
I love it. I know.
All right.
I'm starting to get those wrinkles. Thank you for being part of my life.
I'm sure I gave you a few of those and some gray hair. So friends, we will see you tomorrow. Reach out with any questions.
Bye.
Bye.